To those who are pessimistic about the future, human society has experienced rapid, continuous, incessant change for the last 10,000, 50,000, or 100,000 years. But human nature itself has not changed. We still seek food. We still desire to care for our offspring. We still compete for status. We still try to avoid pain. And you can travel to any part of the world and you will still encounter singing, smiling, speech, jealousy, humor. And in fact, if you were to meet a human being that is, say, 40,000 years old, you would still recognize him as fully human in every psychological way. So, in the last 30,000 years, we've grown from 3 million people to 7, 8 billion today. But unlike animals, unlike other species, we've progressed from one mode of living to another. No other species has gone through an agricultural, an urban, a commercial, an industrial, an information transformation. And during this progress, we've experienced Renaissance, Reformations, depressions, demographic transitions, civil wars, cultural wars, credit crunches, you name it. So what has made us humans so different? It's not that we have bigger brains than other animals. The late Neanderthals, and if you go to the Museum of Natural History, had bigger brains than us. What is different about us is about the way we human beings have organized, the way human culture has changed. We've grown by natural selection, not natural selection of genes, genetics, though that has happened, but by our imitation of successful institutions, by imitating habits. Our success lies as a species in cultural evolution. Sure, there's been biological evolution, but that has been very, very, very slow and on a scale of hundreds of thousands of years. Our genes haven't really mutated much too much, but what has changed rapidly is we've acquired learning habits from others. We've acquired ideas from others. So ideas have met and fertilized, and we've created new things by recombining what already exists. So exchange has been to cultural evolution as sex has been to biological evolution. The most important thing is, by exchanging, we've discovered the division of labor, the specialization of efforts, and the creation of mutual gain. So specialization has brought about innovation. And now we have people that specialize and create, and we have other people that consume, that are diversified. So our mating of specialization and consuming through the capitalistic process is the most important driver that has pushed human evolution. Our discovery of specialization and exchange is what has created wealth. And that is why I am optimistic that the world will pull out of a crisis, any crisis. And because it's the way that markets for goods and services and ideas now allow us human beings to exchange, to specialize for the betterment of all. So I praise the market process. I praise the exchange and specialization process, which is much, much, much older, much more better than most of us imagine it to be. And this is what has created human progress. That has been on balance a good thing. Now we are much richer, happier, healthier, kinder than what we were thousands of years ago. So this human history is the product of long history of evolution through natural selection, through cultural selection, rather than genetic variation. And now we have an emergent order that is generated by the invisible hand of individual transactions, not the product of top-down determinism, not the diktat of the dictator. And all of this has been enabled by cultural evolution, by exchange, by cumulative and intelligence collective that has been formed. And that is therefore, when we say there is a tide in the affairs of men that is discernible beyond the chaos. And because together we are greater, 10 individuals now know more than 10 things because they specialize in each thing and because they exchange. We as a species cumulatively are able to create more, to consume more. And this brings enormous benefits of production, which is a lot more specialized. And now the world is networked. Ideas are meeting, and ideas are meeting even more promiscuously than ever. And this has increased the pace of innovation. It is in fact accelerating economic evolution. It is raising living standards to unimagined heights. And for those of us who are pessimists, the common mistake is to forecast the future on the assumption that we are no more going to have any great technological change. But that is not correct. For every generation has underestimated the potential for finding new recipes, for finding new ideas. And now we have spontaneous order, that is an order that is created by exchange, by specialization, by this collective intelligence. And that's why innovation itself is becoming so much more bottoms up rather than top down. The world of today is no longer going to be driven by large institutions, by large corporations, by large political parties, by large government bureaucracies. These will crumble and fragment with time, as central planning did in the last century. And they will be replaced by entrepreneurial startups. Workplaces will be replaced by aggregations of people like the gig economy that will form and reform continuously, bottoms up. The world will become a great team of people that are coalescing to meet a certain end. Doctors will need to get used to much better, much informed patients who have researched their illnesses. Journalists will need to cater to news on demand. Broadcasters will have to cater to an audience that will demand how they want to consume broadcasts. Engineering itself, like Linux, will become open source. Genetics will become open source. People will decide what combination of genes they want. Citizens will organize and create riots by text message. People will find more and more ways to exchange their specialized production for diversified consumption. We will have a workplace of free agents bartering their ideas, and people will share their photographs more and more on Flickr, their thoughts on Twitter. They will network more and more on LinkedIn. They will share their friends and with their friends on Facebook, and their knowledge on Wikipedia, their software on Linux. They will donate more and more on globalgiving.com. They will share their pedigrees on ancestry.com and even their medical records on patients like me. Of course, human nature will not change. We will of course have the same old dogmas, the same aggression, the same addictions, the same infatuations, the same indoctrinations that we have had. All of this will play out, but meanwhile the human race will continue to expand, will continue to enrich its culture despite setbacks, and this will be driven up by evolution, by bottoms-up phenomena in a wonderful networked world. Thank you so much for listening in.